Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Art Speak, in which we talk about the message and meaning behind the art that we create. And I am here with Lea Vollmer, who was in my Paint My Spirit Animal class. And she's going to share with us about this painting that she created in the class. And just a little background on Lea. Lea is an artist, and she commented in her bio that it's been hard for her to say those words at times, as for years she didn't see herself that way, but she feels like it's time that she reclaimed her birthright. And I know that a lot of you can relate to this. I certainly can. That is totally my story too. Lea resides in southern Indiana with her husband and 5 cats. Her late life blessing of a son is out of the nest, and she looks forward to the day that she can retire from work and have more time to create. And she loves everything creative, and from gourd art to beading to costume making, basketry, spinning yarn, knitting, netting, crochet, counted thread work, stained glass, ceramics, you get the idea. And she does have a Bachelor of Fine Arts and would love to shift her career into the commercial art field. Is that right? Oh, you got the degree thinking that. Yes, okay.
I got the commercial art degree. I would like to shift my career into something more creative.
More creative. Great. Well, so you chose to speak about the art that you created during the course of the Paint My Spirit Animal class. And I'd love to hear what your experience was creating it and the wisdom that it offered you. So take it away.
Okay. I know that early on in the class, after we did a little research on what we thought our spirit animal was going to be, you asked us to think about what our intention for this piece was going to be. And what I had written down at the time, and or what really spoke to me, was this idea of releasing what no longer serves you. I have been feeling very stuck for a long time, which was one of the reasons I signed up for the class. It sounded like a way that maybe it would help me get unstuck a little. And so that really resonated with me. You know, what do I not want in my life anymore? What do I do want in my life? And I wrote down at the time, and it's underneath everything I've put on top of it since then, but I had written down that my intention was to become unstuck, and unstuck from the point in my life where I felt betrayed, not allowed to become the person that I wanted to be, you know, freed from certain aspects of my past so that I could move on and leave it behind. And turtle was a very appropriate symbol that came up. I was a little skeptical at first. It's like, yeah, right, I'm gonna find a spirit animal.
Now, the turtle, if I recall, showed up to you before we did the journey as well. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. You had done a little, it was probably one of your Art Speak things. It was just a guided meditation.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And a turtle had shown up then. It wasn't a sea turtle. It's always been a box turtle. You know, one of the first things I wrote down in my notes was that they are stressed out when their surroundings are changed and can get very disoriented. And that has been very true of my life. We moved a lot while I was growing up. If we didn't move, sometimes we moved yearly. At some points we would move into a community. And then my parents would go house hunting. You know, it's like we started out renting a house, and then they'd go buy a house. And of course, that was always in another school district. So anyway, on average, about every 2 years, I was moving someplace, and it was always away. You know, it wasn't like nearby. And yeah, you know, as I reflect back on that, I think that did leave me feeling very disoriented at times.
What connections did you find between the information that you got through discovering the box turtle as your spirit animal, and how that related to your intention of letting go of things.
Like developing a more carefree attitude, just being unshakable in my faith, staying grounded. I'm finding that developing the more contemplative nature of myself is starting to come to the forefront a little bit more. Turtles have excellent navigation skills, and I had to agree with that, because it's like, if you need to get somewhere, you ask me, I'll get you there. Just being at peace with my choices, releasing negative things that hold me back. I really had to laugh at the one insight that I got, where turtle people are really good at starting things but horrible at finishing them. And I just raised my hand and looked around my studio at all the unfinished stuff and went, oh my gosh, yes, turtle is my spirit animal. And the other thing that really stood out was, it's a positive and a negative. I've used that shell that I built a shell around myself to protect myself from hurt. And that was various kinds. And the more I hurt it, the more I pull into my shell. But at the same time, it's also, I guess what I've discovered is I can move forward with that. I don't have to abandon the shell of protection. I can leave that shell of protection there, because that's an okay thing to protect yourself at times. But I can stick my head and my feet out and move on. The protection will be there. It's okay. You can move forward with your life path. So, that was I thought, a helpful insight as well. So I was very, very pleased that the turtle showed up in my meditations and things like that, because it was really true.
That's really wonderful.
The biggest change has just been feeling a lot more free. I have been able to let go of quite a few things that have had me stuck, because I recognize, hanging on to anger or hanging on to some of these things was not, it was like a ball and chain. I might be moving forward in my, everyday life, but I was not moving forward inside. I was stuck. I don't feel stuck anymore. Maybe a little bit from time to time, because it likes to keep trying to rear its ugly head, but it was helpful. It was very helpful to recognize that and to realize that I can move on from that. I think I spoke with you about how I felt there was, I was stuck at a certain age.
Yeah.
There's this inner child that it's like the inner child was stuck. And allowing that inner child to grow up, again, it helps me to look forward now, leave all that garbage in the past and look forward now into what could be or what can be.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, for a couple of fun questions, are you a cat or a dog person?
As I watch your kitty walking around there in the background, I'm a cat person. I love all animals. My dad was a veterinarian, so I grew up around animals. He worked at a zoo for a while. I love all kinds of animals. Giraffes, horses, you name it. Big ones, small ones. Not so much spiders. Spiders give me the heebie-jeebies, but everything else is okay. And I love dogs. I've had many dogs in my life though too. So dog people out there, don't start hating on me. Uh, but I identify with cats for some reason. I guess I understand them in some ways that a lot of people don't. But cats get a bad rap for being independent and aloof, and people think they're not friendly. Well, they're friendly in their way. You have to wait for them to invite you into their space, where dogs are just all about invading your space, you know.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh my God.
You know, I understand that. I respect that. And I tell people, you know, if you want a cat to be your friend, you let them come to you first. Just sit quietly. It helps to have treats. But you know, that's just the way they are, and they will either like you or they will not, and you have to accept that, because sometimes there are just some cats that will not like you for some reason.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
There's my 5 cents worth of cat psychology.
I appreciate that. And that's true. I think when you live with cats, you kind of I almost forget about the aloofness with, you know, that.
I don't find them to be that way. I just find they live in their own space.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Like, I like, whatever. What is your morning beverage of choice?
My morning beverage of choice is coffee. I am a coffee snob. I will not drink unless I absolutely have to, like Folgers or Maxwell House anymore. I worked for Starbucks for 4 years. If I could only have one kind of coffee for the rest of my life, it would be Kona from Hawaii.
Ooh.
It's very smooth. It does not have hardly any bitter taste to it at all. But it's $55 a pound right now. So,
wow.
But think, it's the only grown on the Hawaiian Islands. It's limited quantity kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get that very often, but I have found plenty of others that are just as good, or, you know, almost as good.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share or add before we sign off?
You know, I would encourage anybody who's considering taking one of your classes, or in particular the spirit animal class, to do it. It might seem a little strange at first. I mean, if you're kind of like me, I don't come from, you know, my background is very, I don't know what to call it, non-new age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a little older, it's more based in the Christian traditions, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really believe that God can tell you things no matter where you're at or what you're doing, whether you embrace 100% of it or not. That's okay. But I would encourage you to do it just simply because you might be surprised what the spirit, whatever the spirit is for you, reveals to you. I never in a million years would have thought of a box turtle. I find, although you know, it seems like since then I've been finding turtle images everywhere. I had forgotten I have this little, it's like a little dish.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I picked it up at an art fair. It's the ceramist used kind of a shiny glazes to represent water, and there's this little turtle on a log. I've completely forgotten I had that. So I've put that out now and put it on. I've got a little altar that I put special things on like that for contemplation purposes. But I would just encourage people to try it and see what comes up for you. You might be surprised at the insight you would gain for yourself personally.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Well.